Oh dear Lord, it's been one of those nights. Okay, so let me try my best to articulate my thoughts and explain a little bit what's happened. So let's just get to it, shall we? Um, Tonight we had this sort of staff party, if you will, down the stack for basically a load of people who work at different YOLO places across the northeast. And to be honest, I was quite looking forward to it. I thought that it might be a bit, might be just. I thought it was going to be. I initially thought it was going to be a little bit more like like a quite of a bit of a special occasion, and it was going to be the chance to meet loads of people. And here's the thing. Honestly, by the time like I get there and stuff like that, and I get into the stack just before 7 o'clock, um, I kind of saw firsthand exactly sort of what it was. And it was like everybody was with their friends. Everybody was actually very everyone was very well turned out, it must be said. And I must be honest, despite the fact that I immediately recognized, people I work with who mind you, with that being said, when I say work with, there was about four members of staff down the YOLOs that I work. Two of them were on shift, and two of them were just kind of with each other and just chatting up loads of. There might have been friends, there might have been boyfriends and stuff like that. It's just how it is. So almost immediately, I kind of felt on my own. And how how best can I describe this in like a really really nice and pleasant way? There isn't really, but to be honest, if it wasn't for the knowledge that all of us worked for the same company, I would have had. And I pretty much, for as far as I was concerned, I had pretty much no context for literally who anybody was or what anybody was about. And you know what I feel like distinctly vulnerable and just kind of an outcast when you're completely by yourself. And before anybody asks about why I didn't just I think I kind of got the impression they were more than fine just being with like people they knew, because they didn't really knew who really know me that well either. And to be honest, I didn't really. I don't really know why, but I didn't really feel at that point I was really there for anything in particular. I kind of, in fact, to be honest, the reason why I went at all is because I actually felt that some way that we were going to get some sort of recognition for the work we did. And no, it didn't come across as anything like that because of what happened immediately after this. I immediately get a text saying that because the festive period is over, they're going to start cutting back on a lot of hours. And despite the fact that I'm still having to play by the rules of going to college and stuff like that, and still having to wait as far as the middle of February before I actually start to see even the possibility of actual work, I've almost got nothing on at YOLO's for possibly weeks. Insofar as I'm concerned, they may as well just not bother to ask me to come back. I don't know why that all this, and then they just say, yeah, thanks but no thanks. Because I've got like maybe two shifts on this week. It doesn't even come to like it doesn't even come to 8 hours. And call me old fashioned, ladies and gentlemen, but who on earth is going to expect me to live on 8 hours? It's just not, it's not playing the game. It's not the real world speaking right there. Expect somebody to get by on 8 hours graft. It's not worth it. I'll do it, yeah, of course, but I don't really know if I'm supposed to say thank you, or to be honest, I don't really feel that grateful for it because of, well, the place at where it is, or quite frankly, circumstances that have led to this. Yeah, and all this happened in about the first 20 minutes of just arriving at the stack. After, because literally what happened next was somebody announced, in 10 minutes' time, we're gonna get ready for the quiz. Absolutely no way. And quite frankly, I was astonished that I was stayed as long as I did. Because I remember chatting to one of the staff at Acropolis, and I explained to her that I have literally no idea what I'm doing here. And quite frankly, the only reason why I even bother coming out to these venues is that, like I mentioned before, but for some reason I thought it would be a pretty good idea to actually try and be amongst other people. Oh dear, what an absolute error of judgment that was, because how many of you guys are familiar with the expression hell is other people? Because God Almighty, I'm beginning to work out exactly why. Because oh, you know what? There is like another side to stuff like this, but I'll maybe explain it a little bit later. But yeah, I don't think I remember speaking to anybody. I don't think I remember anybody. Well, certainly nobody would come over to talk to me, because again, who on earth am I to other people? There's that. And so literally what I did is I used the food token I got. 11, it was like, apparently it was worth 11 quid, so I got a 10 quid pizza. Don't get any change, ironically, from this. That's a bit of a swindle, if you ask me. And literally, it was just a margarita pizza. It was completely average as far as pizzas go. And to be honest, even if they were charging 11 quid for it, it's probably something I wouldn't get. And to be honest, you can't even get anything decent food wise for anything less than about 25 quid nowadays. And even that might be a bit of a stretch sometimes. But yeah. Because the other thing as well is that they gave us about 18 quid in food tokens, which I remember giving to one of the other two members of staff with who I work alongside, because to be honest, because one, they're gonna make much better use of them than me, and two, I wasn't drinking anyway, and to be honest, I just didn't want to stay there any longer. So I left. I left the thing at about, I want to say 10 to 8, and I just sort of got in the car and just drove home. So yeah, a pretty miserable and I'm grateful for the fact that I've only really wasted 2 hours of my life. But yeah, as I mentioned before, yeah, just the thought of being amongst other people is, quite frankly, it really was one of those occasions where you couldn't have asked for anything worse, because of what I'm going to explain next. And you know what? The more I think about it, with the way things have gone, there is something else I know this, what I'm going to say is going to make me sound extremely unpopular, but you know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm actually kind of a little bit shocked that nobody knew who I was. I'm actually kind of surprised, even to this day, nobody's really interested in who I am. Call that ignobility or whatever you like, but quite frankly, yeah, I have no other way of phrasing it. Yeah, again, so do I want a little bit more attention? Yeah, of course I do. And you know what? Because in some way I feel like it's warranted, and I don't really know what I'm supposed to do, or supposed to showcase to people to say that, you know what, here I am, and everything else. So yeah, that's the thing. It may be a bit of a selfish intent, but you know what? Forget it. All I want is a little bit more attention. All I want is a little bit more recognition for the things I've done. All I want is, you know what? I want some actual proper work. I want some actual like proper respect. I want to be able to actually spend my time with people I want to spend time with. I want to actually work alongside people who will want me to actually work with them. I want some. Yeah, sorry guys, I just need a moment to think. Right, okay. I think what I need right now is just to like have just to find some time and just to have like a really really good think about exactly what I'm supposed to do and just about what I'm even supposed to respond when this happens, because I don't really know how to respond when you don't feel wanted and when nothing you do seems to make any sort of difference, and when even when all is said and done, people will still decide one way or another that whatever you say, whatever you want, whatever goes through your mind, it's everything you want. It's completely out of your hands, and it is not even your choice anymore. When I'll just say, you know what, the sad reality is, it is my choice, and I can absolutely choose. I can absolutely choose like how this goes. I just think I spent too much of my time around people telling me that I have no choice. But I do. Like honestly, my fate is completely within my hands, and yet these things still happen. However, tomorrow can only get better, right? Because if nothing else, I've let it all out there. So if nothing else, I can at least do myself some sort of justice by actually by taking the fight to them. Somehow I feel like I've got to do something to make this better. So I'd say we better get to work, shall we? Always more work.